Nilabistado na nga ang mga kasalanan ni VP Sara Duterte. Ito nga ay matapos na pumayag si President Bongbong Marcos na umattend sa Senate hearing upang aminin na nito ang lahat ng nalalaman sa umano'y pagbulsa ni VP Sara sa confidential funds na pinaghirapan ng taong bayan. Ayon sa Pangulo, handa umano niyang sagutin ang mabibigat na tanong patungkol sa mga bintang at hinala ng ilang mambabatas kay VP Sara. Narito panoorin ang video kung saan inilabas na ng ilang mambabatas ang ilang ebidensya na magpapatunay sa mga kasalanang ginawa ni VP Sara.
Okay. Yes, the Chair recognizes Congressman Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Kong Mika. Mr. Chair, sa COA din po address yung mga tanong ko dahil ilang beses na na-mention yung pag-justify ng paggamit ng confidential funds through payment for purchase of information, aside sa iba pang mga binanggit na dahilan kung saan daw ginastos. Mr. Chair, yung purchase of information, isa din siya dun sa mga lumitaw na may maraming mga acknowledgement receipts na kaduda-duda actually. Kaya Mr. Chair, ang tanong ko po sa COA, nung binanggit po ng OVP, tsaka ng DepEd na may mga pinagamitan, may mga taong binayaran in exchange for the information that they provided di umano sa mga ahensya na ito. Mr. Chair, usually anong mga aktibidad po ito? Maliban doon sa na-mention na yung mga Youth Leadership Summit, para daw mangyari yun, ganyan. Ano pa yung ibang mga tipo ng aktibidad under OVP or DepEd?
Attorney Camora, you're recognized.
Mr. Chair, yung kung ano po yung nasa accomplishment report nila, yun po yung activities na pinagkakagastosan nila nung pondo po.
So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, kasi yung sa OVP, for 2022, ito yung parang pahabol na nagastos in 11 days na confidential funds. Ang activities po na ng OVP ay meron daw mga outreach program, merong mga pamahagi ng mga Christmas gifts, ganyan. Bahagi din po ba yon ng mga na-site na para maging successful ang mga yon, di umano ay kinailangan ng impormasyon, kaya gumamit ng confidential funds?
Pag sa purchase of information, Mr. Chair, hindi po required kasi yung evidence of success. Required siya pag sa payment ng rewards kasi it presupposes na there could be a separate payment for the purchase of information and then separate po ulit yung reward for the success because of that information purchase.
Okay, so given that, Mr. Chair, so kung doon tayo particular sa purchase of information, yan, ano-ano pong mga aktibidad yung na-site ng OVP man or ng DepEd na kung saan kinailangan nilang gumastos for purchase of information using confidential funds?
Mr. Chair, marami po yung sinubmit ng BPSPG na list of activities ng information. And I think
sige, Mr. Chair, like ano na lang pong mga tipo ng activity, kahit hindi po ma-enumerate, pero mabanggit po ano-ano yung mga kinds of activities na iyon.
Like mga specific activities po ito, Mr. Chair, like for example, Nights of Rizal Supreme Council noong December 15, consultation with Barangay Chairman ng Maynila ng December 17, and then
sorry, Mr. Chair, pwede po paulit para lang po mas malinaw. Ano po yung una tsaka yung pangalawang nabanggit?
Yung una po, unahin ko na lang po dito based sa listahan. December 13, Department of Education, 2022 Partners Appreciation Night in Mandaluyong. And then December 15, Knights of Rizal Supreme Council, 60th Year of Institute in Baguio City, Youth Campaign on Patriotism. And then December 17, marami po itong activities, mga Christmas activities sa Tondo, consultation with Barangay Chairman ng Maynila, in Manila, pasasalamat and update meeting with Barangay Batasan Hills, Quezon City, Mga halos ganito
Okay.
po. And then coordination meeting with task force Davao in Davao City, and then Christmas activity with SPED students in Davao City. Mga ganitong nature po.
Okay. Mr. Chair, how about yung 2023 for OVP?
At 2023, Mr. Chair, ongoing pa po yung audit, so hindi ko pa po nakita yung list ng activities po nila.
Okay. Mr. Chair, how about 2023 DepEd? Liban dun sa mga Youth Leadership Summit.
Yung sa Youth Leadership Summit, yung sa 5 certifications po yun. Pero hindi po yun yung activity ng DepEd.
Precisely, Mr. Chair, kaya gusto nating malaman, maliban doon, kasi lumitaw na dito sa committee na sinight yun ng DepEd, pero i-dispute din pala ng Philippine Army na gumastos yung DepEd for that. So, meron bang ibang mga DepEd activities na yun yung sinasite pa ng DepEd na ibang pinagamitan ng kanilang confidential funds?
Ito po yung based on their acknowledgement receipts, meron pa silang abuse prevention and control within schools, anti-extremism / terrorism programs, anti-illegal activities operations, counterinsurgency. Yun po. And then under each activity, yun na po yung payment of rewards, payment of information. Yun po yung content nung acknowledgement receipts nila and yung accomplishment report po.
Tapos meron din pong mga naka-attach na acknowledgement receipts para dun sa purchase of information para sa mga yon.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Chair, dun sa purchase of information, kasi bago pa man nag-grant ng confidential funds sa DepEd at sa OVP, edi nag-grant na sa iba pang mga ahensya. Tapos kapag purchase of information, edi parang wala namang niyang isang rate lang. So, Mr. Chair, usually, pag nakakarating na sa COA yung mga acknowledgement receipts or kung ano mang ebidensya, ano po ba yung range usually kapag merong mga nagpapasa ng ganong mga like proof na ginastos daw for purchase of information? Ano po yung kadalasang range kapag purchase of information yung pinagkagastusan?
Mr. Chair, iba-iba po kasi depende sa agency and depende sa budget nila.
So, Mr. Chair,
wala pong definite na masabi na this range to this range.
sige. So, kapag ganun, Mr. Chair, pwede din siya maging discretionary kasi ibig sabihin kung ano yung tansya ng mga officials na yun yung amount na necessary para ma-entice isang tao to provide information.
Part po ng cash advance na documents na sinasubmit nila is a physical and financial plan. So, somehow, dun sa PFP, na breakdown na po doon kung ano yung sa tingin nila pupuntahan nung pondo po.
Okay.
So, yun yung plan. And then, later on, yung accomplishment report is yung actual kung saan po nila na-spend yung pondo.
So yung plan, chine-check yun ng COA bago aprobahan na, sige, i-grant yung confidential funds for that agency.
Yes po. Sa cash advance po.
Okay. Thank you po dun sa mga sagot, Mr. Chair. Kasi kung ganun nga yung lumilitaw na parang madali pa lang mag-imbento ng proof of payment. Lalo na based dun sa mga pinakita kanina, meron pa mga visual na pagpapakita no, sa ating mga kababayan na kung merong kahit sinong opisyal, lalo na kapag nasa matataas talaga ng mga antas, kung dumating sa punto na gustong gamitin yung pera ng bayan para sa sariling interes o sa mga masasamang balak, ay madali talagang malusutan yung current na systems na meron tayo na supposedly ay dapat nga lalo kung nagbibigay ng confidential funds, ang assumption dyan ay merong kumpiyansa or confidence dun sa kung kanino o saang ahensya nagagrant ng pera. Pero it seems na lalo pa kung purchase information, yung isang madalas na isite, Mr. Chair, ay malaki yung room for discretion para magsabi lang halimbawa na okay, ganitong amount, bibigay ko sa ganitong tao kasi nagbigay siya ng information. Pero hindi rin, wala tayong sapat na batayan para masabi na naging effective na accomplish ng ganong mga purchase of information yung kanilang intent. And so to wrap up, Mr. Chair, lalo na I can really recall na noong 2022, dun pa lang nung formally na bahagi ng budget proposal ng OVP tsaka DepEd, yung confidential funds, ay ginagamit pa actually yung bahagi ng ating constituency, mga kabataan at mga bata, para i-protect di umano yung kanilang interest, i-defend yung kanilang welfare, protektahan daw sila mula sa mga gumagamit ng droga, child abusers, child exploiters. Pero as it seems, Mr. Chair, I don't think merong mga members ng committee who are actually convinced na naprotektahan natin yung mga bata at mga kabataan dahil sa pag-grant ng confidential funds both sa OVP tsaka sa DepEd. So, I really hope na maliban sa mapigilan na natin yung ganitong abuso sa confidential funds, yung mga hindi rin talaga nagpakita na katiwa-tiwala sila, no, sa paggamit ng pondo, dapat hindi na natin mahayaan na magkaroon ulit sila ng access sa ganitong pondo, lalo na pera ito ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino. Pinaghirapan, nagbabayad ng buwis para sa pinagbabudgetan ng Kongreso. Yun lang, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Manuel. The next interpolator is Congresswoman Mika Swansing.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Zia.
With the indulgence of Congresswoman Swansing, with the permission, of course, of my late colleague, I'd just like to make a manifestation, a quick manifestation, Mr. Chair.
What is your manifestation?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, well, apparently, I shared the disappointment of some of the members here. I, for one, want to ask questions, no, to certain individuals, invitees who apparently are not around. So I noticed we're hitting a roadblocks here, no, by their consistent refusal to attend these committee hearings. But then again, Mr. Chair, may I request perhaps to the chairman, I believe we have already sent an invitation to the DBM. Yes, and the questions that I have, Mr. Chair, is on the, not only on the utilization of the confidential funds, but as well as the manner by which these are being requested from DBM, how it was requested, when it was requested, Mr. Chair. So I believe, Mr. Chair, if with the indulgence of this committee, that I would also like to reiterate the invitation that we have sent already to DBM, particularly, Mr. Chair, on the Bureau on Budget Management, that's DASI, because I noticed the request from the OVP has been made through this office, and the correspondence between the OVP and the DBM is also between the Office of the Budget Management Bureau, DASI, and as well as the Budget Officer of the OVP. So if I may request, Mr. Chair, that by next time, we also send an invitation on this particular bureau under the office of the under the Department of Budget and Management, so that for this humble representation, should there be any non-attendance again of the individuals that we are requiring them to attend in the next committee hearing, at least I have somebody to ask for clarification, Mr. Chair. So again, that would be my simple manifestation. I'd just like to put that on record, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Adjong. The COMSEC, please take note of the manifestation of Congressman Adjong.
Noted,
Yes.
Your Honor.
Congressman Mika, please proceed to your interpellation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, with the indulgence of the chairman, I would like to move to a different topic. So throughout the hearing, we've been talking about the confidential funds and how the OVP has dispersed the confidential funds. But with the indulgence of the chairman, I would like to move to looking into the regular funds and the disbursement of the regular funds of the Office of the Vice President.
Please
Mr.
proceed.
Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, if I may I request the COMSEC to please flash some slides. I prepared some slides to illustrate the figures in terms of the pattern of expenditure of the Office of the Vice President from the years 2021 to year 2025 as proposed in the National Expenditure Program. Mr. Chair, I would like to highlight a couple of things on this slide. Before I start, I would like to put some caveats. I was able to put figures in 2021 and 2022 based on the COA annual audit report. So these are reflective already, Mr. Chair, of the actual expenditures. For the years 2023 and 2024, we are still waiting for COA to release the annual audit reports. So I based the approximate of the expenditure on the amounts on the GAA, or the General Appropriations Act. And then for 2025, Mr. Chair, I based it off the proposal of the Office of the Vice President for the budget as reflected in the NEP, or the National Expenditure Program, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, before I proceed, I would like to pose a question to COA. COA, nagawa niyo na po ba yung annual audit report ng OVP for the year 2023? Kasi as per checking po, wala pa pong naka-upload sa COA website for 2023.
Ms. Sofia Gemora, you are recognized.
Thank you, Your Honor. As to the publication for the 2023 annual audit reports, not only for the OVP but for all of the COA audit reports duly transmitted to respective auditees or management, our chair, in relation to the General Appropriations Act that was released for 2024, issued a memorandum that publication of the COA audit reports duly transmitted to the audited agencies will be uploaded by December 1 onwards, which publication will include the AAPC, or the status of action taken by the management on the audit observations therein or in the audit reports, and as well as the APMT, which concretize the validation or a report validating the action taken of the management on the audit observations on that year or on 2023 annual audit reports, ma'am. Your Honor.
Noted on that, Mr. Chair. In the absence of the COA report duly published by COA, Mr. Chair, we will stick for now to the values indicated in the GAA for the year 2023 and 2024. Mr. Chair, please allow me to make general comments on the patterns that I've seen from the year 2021 to 2025. Dalawa po siguro yung gusto ko pong puntuhin dito po sa ating obserbasyon. Yung una po, kumpara po sa amount na nagastos ng Office of the Vice President ng taong 2021 at 2022, makikita po natin na mas malaki po o di hamak na mas malaki yung expenditure po ng Office of the Vice President para po sa mga kategorya na ating pong inilatag dito po sa ating slide. Pangalawa, Mr. Chair, napakalaki po nung across the different years po, napakalaki nung pagtaas noong expenditure ng Office of the Vice President para po sa iba't ibang mga kategorya. So, Mr. Chair, I would like to highlight two observations. First, the expenditures seem to be a lot higher from the years 2023 and as proposed in 2025 as compared to the previous expenditures before 2022. And number two, there's the jump across the different years seems to be very, very substantial for the different categories highlighted, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, iisa-isahin ko po yung iba't ibang mga kategorya para po atin pong mahimay at mailatag yung ating pong mga obserbasyon. Yung una po, Mr. Chair, ay patungkol po sa travel expenses o traveling expenses ng Office of the Vice President. Makikita po natin dito na kung atin pong titignan yung notes to financial statements ng COA, ay dalawa po yung pwedeng maging kategorya para sa traveling expenses, local and foreign travel. Hindi po pa natin alam sa kasalukuyan yung breakdown nitong mga amounts na ito kasi hinihintay po natin yung COA audit report. Pero dito pa lang, Mr. Chair, makikita po natin na parang ang taas. Para po sa taong 2023, mula po sa 20 million ng taong 2022 at 10 million lamang noong taong 2021. Bigla pong tumaas yung traveling expenses na OVP sa halos 60 million pesos bawat taon. At consistent po yun, taong 2024, 62.5 million at doon po sa proposal para sa 2025, nasa 62.5 million din. Dito po, Mr. Chair, nais ko po sanang tanungin yung COA. Meron po ba kayong ginagawang assessment or audit patungkol po sa nature of the travels? Tinitignan niyo po ba kung ito ba ay necessity? Necessary po ba ito to the fulfillment of the duties or the mandate of the Office of the Vice President? Tinitignan po ba natin kung reasonable yung gastusin sa bawat travel? Ano pong klaseng audit yung ginagawa po ng COA patungkol po sa traveling expenses, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, may I...
Yes, Mr. Tomawis, you are recognized.
Congressman Swansing, Mr. Chair, for the traveling expenses po, we base our audit on the Executive Order 77, wherein may mga prescribed rates po doon for the travel abroad and local travel, and may mga parameters and guidelines and procedures, and also we have also the documentary requirements ng COA, wherein may mga requirements required to be submitted to substantiate or to validate yung mga travel expenses na na-incur ng agency.
Mr. Chair, thank you, sir. That's from the audit standpoint po eh. Maganda din po kasi sana kung meron po sana, Mr. Chair, na representante mula po sa Office of the Vice President. Maganda po sana nating maitanong na bakit kinailangan nila yung ganito kalaki na gastusin na traveling expense po. Kasi po nung sa mga previous years po, di ba po halos kung titignan natin, almost 20% lamang or 1/5 lamang nung kasalukuyang gastusin ng OVP yung traveling expenses. So, alam ko po na hindi masasagot ng COA yung dahilan kung bakit dumami yung travels. Pero sana po mabigyan po tayo ng linaw ng Office of the Vice President kung ito bang mga travels na ito ay necessary po at ano po yung papaano po ito nag-a-align doon po sa mga objectives at mandate ng Office of the Vice President.
Mr. Chair, may I answer?
Yes, Mr.
po?
Tomawis, you are recognized.
Based on our report po, dun sa travel expenses, since ang OBP for the 2023, nag-full blast sila kasi nagkaroon po ng expansion, which is yung satellite offices and also yung disaster operations nila. Wherein the other previous administration po kasi wala pong satellite offices. That's why lahat po ng travel expenses in relation to the operations in the satellite offices, doon kaya po lumaki yung amount of expenses pertaining to the travel expenses.
Mr. Chair, if I may ask COA as a follow-up, yung travel expenses po ba, yan ay travel expenses ng mga staff ng satellite offices?
Based on this, kasama po.
Mr. Chair, maaari po bang ibahagi sa atin ng COA ilan pong porsyento dito po sa 59.5 million para po sa taong 2023, ilan po dyan magkano po dyan yung local travel versus foreign travel? Maibabahagi niyo po ba iyon?
As to the breakdown po, we cannot commit to answer the breakdown today po kasi wala po sa aming report as of this day po yung breakdown kung ilan po yung para doon sa staff at sa satellite offices.
Mr. Chair, siguro as an observation lang po, even naman po if we would look at previous administrations, ang nature naman po talaga ng jurisdiction ng Vice President ay national in nature. So, bumabiyahe naman po talaga yung ating mga Vice Presidents all over the country. So, siguro po, yun nga, baka ang accounting factor lang po nun kung bakit tumaas ay dahil po dun sa mga satellite offices. At yun po siguro yung tanong natin, Mr. Chair, dati pa, simula pa nung nagkaroon tayo ng pagtalakay patungkol dito, ano po ba yung necessity noong mga satellite offices na iyon kung napakalaki po nung epekto nun doon po sa mga expenses, Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, I would like to move to the second category po, which are the supplies and materials expenses. Siguro, Mr. Chair, isa po sa makikita natin dito ay, sorry po, COMSEC, previous slide lang po. Ayan po. Yung second category po ay yung supplies and material expenses. Mr. Chair?
Yung slide, please.
Ayan po. Ito po siguro, Mr. Chair, yung medyo kailangan natin pagtuunan ng pansin. Napakalaki po nung tinaas, noong expenses pagdating po sa supplies and materials. Noong taong 2021 po, yun ay nasa 92 million. Para sa taong 2022, 53.5 million. Pero po sa taong 2023, times 5 po yung itinaas noong supplies and materials expenses. At patuloy po yung pagtaas, tumaas po siya ng 70 million sa pagitan ng 2023 at 2024 at tumaas palalo by 60 million. Mula po 2024 at 2025. Siguro, Mr. Chair, ang tanong ko po patungkol dito, pag tinignan po natin yung mga kategorya or subcategories under the supplies and materials expenses, titignan po natin, office supplies, welfare goods, drugs and medicines expenses, medical, dental, and laboratory supplies, fuel, oil, and lubricants, semi-expandable machinery and equipment, semi-expandable furniture, fixtures, books, at other supplies and materials expenses. Siguro po, tatanungin po natin, bakit po kakailanganin yung daang-daang milyon para po sa mga supplies at materyales na ito. So, Mr. Chair, dahil po wala po tayong representante mula po sa OVP na sasagot ng tanong na ito, kung maaari ko pong matanong muli sa COA, may ginawa po ba kayong audit o assessment patungkol po sa nature nitong mga purchases na ito?
Mr. Chair, may I be recognized po?
Yes, Mr. Tumawis.
Mr. Chair, the main reason po nung increase nung supplies and material expenses from 2022 to 2023 is reason po is nagkaroon po ng extensive na mga disaster operations during the 2023 at the same time po nagkaroon po ng satellite offices. So particularly po kung makikita nyo po dun sa welfare goods and expenses, yan po yung lumaki po talaga at dun sa other supplies and material expenses wherein mayroon po dun program po si Office of the Vice President about the Pagbabago campaign, A Million Learners and Trees program po. So wherein yung mga distributions nila po doon or mga supplies na nagagamit, dito po na i-record. So kung hindi natin po kasi maki-compare sa 2022 kasi po magkakaiba po yung programs in the 2023 wherein dumami na po yung programs ni OBP. And then at the same time, if I may read the notes to FS po, doon sa welfare goods, the welfare goods expenses consist of relief goods and food boxes distributed to the disadvantaged individuals and families and to those affected by various calamities. It also includes the purchase of rice intended for the relief operations. And nandito rin po na ang reason po ng increase is due to the extensive relief operation in CY 2023 conducted by the Disaster Operations Center and various satellite offices. That's for the welfare goods po, kaya po siya tumaas. Then for the other supplies and material expenses, nag-increase po kasi may mga purchase schools bags and other supplies po na binibigay po ng Office of the Vice President relative dun sa pagbabago campaign po na program po nila.
Mr. Chair, siguro po ang tanong ko po sa COA, para kasing program project-based yung mga expenses po na nabanggit ninyo, chargeable po ba siya dapat sa MOOE?
Yes po. Yes, Mr. Chair. Depende po kung ano yung nature.
Siguro,
And,
go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yes,
recognize?
Ma'am Hemora, you're
Thank you,
recognized.
Chair. Of course, ma'am, with the programs comes the different items that will be used for the implementation of the program. So if there will be, like earlier said by Mr. Fahad, there were ano ba yun? Mga welfare goods that were procured and other bags for the, ano ba yung program? Pagbabago Kaday program. So, these are recorded in the MOE for the procured items that were related to the implementation of the different programs implemented during the year.
Mr. Chair, dahil po napakalaki po noong halaga na ating pinag-uusapan dito sa supplies and materials expenses, meron na po bang liquidation na naganap para sa mga ito? Na-audit na po ba yung liquidation, lalo na po doon sa mga disaster operations, doon po sa mga bags, school supplies? Natapos na po ba yung liquidation and audit?
Mr. Chair, for the
Yes,
audit of
Mr.
2023, natapos na po namin yung audit. So based on an audit, meron na po kaming audit report and mga findings which are included na po sa annual audit report ng 2023. So which is pertaining po dun sa deficiencies noted on the distribution of welfare goods, as also for the deficiencies noted on the Pagbabago campaign program. So we have issued audit observation memorandum, and we also included in our report all our findings on that programs po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I think COA highlighted something very important. Ito pong welfare goods, which is a huge percentage of the supplies expenses po, ay subject po ng AOM. Tama po ba? Opo. Kung pwede po sana nating makita yon, Mr. Chair, kapag pwede na pong maipakita sa atin ng COA, dahil po gusto nating siguraduhin na gastos po ng tama itong mga yung halaga dito po sa welfare goods at doon po sa pagbabago program, dahil po subjected siya sa AOM. Mahalaga po para sa committee din na ito na makita po kung ano yung findings ng COA. Lalo na po doon sa deficiencies, siguro po sa mga acknowledgement receipts po ba yan? Sa liquidation reports, mga resibo, ganun po ba? Sa procurement process po ba yung findings ng COA, Mr. Chair?
Your
Yes,
Honor,
Ms. Kimora.
yeah. For the different audit observations included in the annual audit report, we have already, more or less, it's on a, like for example, the distribution list of the welfare goods and other items that were distributed to the different recipients of these programs. So, if the audit report, we have already submitted to the oversight body of the Congress, which is to the Speaker of the House, which we are, of course, mandated to in, what's this, September, no? Or July, I think, or August, we already submitted. But of course, if the committee would request a copy, we would readily provide you with, even if before the December 1 publication, subject to the, of course, approval of the Commission on Audit Chairperson, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, kung pwede po nating tanungin sa COA, kung pwede niyo pong i-disclose sa komite natin ngayon, how much is the amount in question under the AOM? Ilang milyon po?
Wala tayong amount.
How many hundreds of thousands of pesos?
Guidelines lang naman, ma'am, yung... Mr. Chair, may I be recognized?
Yes, Mr. Tomawis, you're recognized.
Actually, yung as to the amount po, is hindi namin masasabi na itong amount na to is may irregularity or may somewhat. But then, our audit kasi po is, or audit report is, or this result is pertaining dun sa mga deficiencies observed dun sa existing guidelines. So more on the internal control po ng distribution of welfare goods, yung mga nakita naming may deficiencies wherein they need to improve it para po ma-secure na yung distribution po is talagang nakakarating po sa mga tao.
Pero, di ba po, nakita ko na po kasi yung previous AOMs nyo eh. Mako-compute mo more or less eh. How much is the amount in question under the AOM? Kasi po yung previous chart po, di ba, na ginawa ko po at linatag ko po sa komite. Kaya ko po nagawa yung mga numbers na yon kasi pag tinignan nyo po yung AOM, sa dulo ng AOM, may total amount po yun eh.
Mr. Chair, we usually audit the accounts. Kung, for example po, yung welfare goods. So yung naka-record po sa balance niya is 176 million, but then it doesn't mean po na lahat po yun is yun yung may irregularities or may something. So kung titingnan po natin, we only base our result on the internal control as a whole for the distribution of welfare goods.
Sige po, Mr. Chair. Once the AOM is available, Mr. Chair, I would like to seek your permission for me to peruse it. Kasi po, medyo malaki yung amount na binabanggit po ng COA ngayon, 176 million yung welfare goods. And doon po nakita yung deficiencies doon po sa audit findings ng COA pagdating po sa mga supplies. So, Mr. Chair, I think this is a flag that the committee should take a look at. And pag nakita ko po yung AOM, Mr. Chair, I will peruse it and for our committee po. Mr. Chair, I would like to move to the next category, which is the professional services, Mr. Chair. If I may request the COMSEC again to please show previous slide po. Mr. Chair, pagbabalikan po natin ulit, doon sa professional services, same pattern po, Mr. Chair, napakalaki ng pagtaas. Mula po sa 75 million ng 2021 at 56.1 million ng 2022. Bigla pong tumaas, lumaktaw po, more than 3 times to 194 million ng taong 2023, 98 million ng 2024 at 105 million sa proposed 2025. Siguro, Mr. Chair, ang interesante po nating tignan dito ay doon po sa taong 2023, mas mataas pa yung expenses sa professional services kaysa po sa personnel services. So, ibig sabihin, mas maraming externally contracted na mga services kaysa po yung mga personal services na internal na plantilla positions within the OVP. So, siguro po, one thing I would like to flag to COA as well is yung professional services po ng 2023 ay mas mataas pa sa internal or personal services ng OVP. Pangalawa po, Mr. Chair, if titignan po natin yung subcategories under professional services, 3 pong klase yon. May auditing services, consultancy services, and other professional services. Siguro, it would be interesting, Mr. Chair, to take a look at this na bakit po umaabot ng 194 million, almost 200 million, yung expenses ng OVP para po sa externally contracted or professional services, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, again, ideally, gusto po sana nating tanungin yung OVP para maipaliwanag po nila to. Pero kung masasagot po tayo ng COA ngayong araw, base po sa kanilang audit findings patungkol po dito.
Mr. Tomawis.
Sige po. Mr. Chair, based on the audit report po, ang actual expenditure for the professional services is only 62.6 million. Aside from that, budgeted po. Kasi based on the GAA po, di ba po yung 194 million. So based on the actual po is only 62.6 million po yung na-incur during the 2023. As compared po dun sa 2022 na 56 million po.
So, Mr. Chair, that's... I'll do a quick math. 1 second.
So hindi ko alam kung may balik, ma'am, o hindi na-release.
So, ibig sabihin po, 32% lang yung utilization nila for professional services? Ano po yun? Quick math lang po, 32 divided by 194.
Yes po.
Opo. Sige, Mr. Chair. That I understand, pero in the succeeding year, 2024 po, meron na po ba kayong utilization report? Running utilization po?
Unfortunately po, Mr. Chair, for the 2024 po, wala pa po kaming running balance as to the utilization po.
Mr. Chair, pwede ko po ba tanungin sa COA kung patungkol po sa professional services, gumagawa po ba kayo ng audit or ng assessment patungkol po dun sa nature ng mga kontrata? Ibig sabihin po, yung nature of the projects na nagkokontrata sila for, and then whether the enlistment of these consultants are necessary, chine-check niyo po ba yun? May ganun po bang assessment na ginagawa yung COA?
For the audit po usually, we are bound by yung mga rules and procedures po. Tinitingnan po namin to the extent po na nako-comply ng agency po yon. If ever po may mga deficiencies or not compliance dun sa rules and regulation, we communicate the information to the management and take their management comments. Then after that po, nagkakaroon na po ng evaluation, then that's the time po nagkakaroon na po ng kung masasatisfy kami or kung if ever lang na hindi na-comply. If ever hindi pa rin kami satisfied with their management comments, then meron na po tayong mga other actions po.
Siguro, yun lang, Mr. Chair. Kailangan lang po nating tignan. And I think this is a sort of assessment that COA is not able to do at present. We need to check the necessity of these contracts. Is it actually necessary for the OVP to undertake these contracts with, for example, the different auditing firms, law firms, etc. And kung tama ba yung kontrata. Kasi yun lang po, mataas po siya eh. For 2024, while 62 million lang yung sa 2023, ang hiningi po muli ng OVP para sa 2024 ay halos 100 million. So, yun lang po. Sana po matignan din po ng COA yung necessity of engaging in these contracts, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, if I may recognize po. Okay. Mr. Chair, since nabanggit po ni Congressman Swansing yung sa other professional services, actually yung other professional services po is pertaining dun sa mga cost of services na binabayad natin sa contract of service personnel po ng OBP. Since po nagkaroon po ng satellite offices ang OBP, they need to hire more contractual services po. That's why po yung mga sweldo po nila, pinapasweldo po natin sa kanila is dito po kinukuha dito sa fund na to.
Noted on that, Mr. Chair. Thank you. For the next one, Mr. Chair, General Services po. Gusto ko pong mag-move dun po sa susunod natin na category. If I may again request the COMSEC to please flash. Dito po sa General Services, Mr. Chair, similar po to the other line items, napakalaki po ng pagtaas. Mula po sa 10 million ng 2021, 14 million ng 2022, at 9.9 million ng 2023. Bigla pong tumaas to 42.7 million. Para po sa taong 2024 at ganun din po yung pinopropose na OVP para sa taong 2025. Siguro, Mr. Chair, interesante po tignan itong kategorya na ito sapagkat pag tinignan po natin yung subcategories under General Services, pag nakita po natin, environment and sanitary services, janitorial services, security services, and other general services, mapapatanong po tayo na bakit po na-multiply po by 5 times yung gastos na OVP between year 2023 and 2024. Kasi po itong mga nature ng mga services na ito, like janitorial services, sanitary services, security services, should be fairly stable and consistent across years. So, bakit po tumaas ng halos 33 million. Yun pong general services, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Tumawis.
for the actual expenditure po ng general services for the 2023 is around 25 million po.
So, 9.9 yung budgeted, naging 25 million.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
And for 2024, Mr. Chair, hindi pa tayo masasagot ng COA.
Your Honor, may I be recognized?
Yes, Ms. Yamora.
The MOE, which is incurred by the OVP in relation to professional services, based on the financial statements submitted by the OVP but not yet audited, di ba? But not yet audited by our team, totaling 11.6 million po. That's for the janitorial and security services, Your Honor. From January to July 2024. That's the latest financial statements that have been submitted to the Commission on Audit. So particularly the financial statements on performance.
Noted, Mr. Chair. So, I guess po yung projected natin for end of year is roughly 23 to 25 million
yes, yes.
din, times 2. Noted on that, Mr. Chair. And last category po, which I would like to focus on, would be the rent and lease expenses, Mr. Chair. Rent and lease expenses, I believe majority of this goes into the rent and the leases of the satellite offices. So, Mr. Chair, dito po makikita natin na taong 2023 ay 33 million po, 60 million ng 2024, at ang hinihiling po na OVP ay 80 million para sa taong 2025. So, Mr. Chair, for the rental expenses, COMSEC, please move to the next slide. Dito po, Mr. Chair, makikita po natin yung detalye kung magkano po yung binabayaran ng OVP na renta para po sa kanilang mga satellite offices. Mr. Chair, this is based off, actually this is directly lifted from the briefer on OVP's rent or lease expenses and satellite offices as of September 19, 2024, supplied by the Commission on Audit. Siguro, Mr. Chair, several things that we would like to highlight here. So for the central office of the OVP in Cybergate, ang binabayaran po na monthly rent ay 2.1 million pesos para po sa head office. Para po sa, bukod po doon, yung Disaster Operations Center, meron pong 258,000 na rent every month. And then for the other satellite offices, Mr. Chair, meron po tayong nakikita dito na malalaki din. Halimbawa po yung sa Cagayan Valley, satellite office po ay 115,000 every month. Para po sa Bicol, 155,000 every month. Sa Cebu ay 149,000 every month. Sa Caraga po, medyo malaki po, 220,000 every month. And sa BARM po ay 120,000 every month. So siguro Mr. Chair, ang tanong ko po dito sa COA, kasi po several of these seem very high for the location in terms of the rental rate being paid for a certain location. So ang tanong ko po sa COA, meron po ba kayong ginagawang assessment kung dumaan po sa tamang canvassing, bidding, procurement procedures, ito pong mga satellite offices bago po mag-enter into the contracts?
Mr. Chair, based on the audit po, itong mga pag-procure po ng rent expenses ng OBP, dumaan po siya sa Procurement Act 9184.
So, Mr. Chair, does that mean na nagkaroon ng canvassing, nagkaroon ng bidding?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Next question, Mr. Chair. May ginagawa po bang assessment yung COA kung at par po sa market rental rates yung binabayaran ng OVP? Halimbawa po, for BARM, doon po sa Cotabato City, para po sa 220 square meters na property, ganun po ba yung going rate sa Cotabato City?
Mr. Chair, one of the supporting documents po dun sa payment of rental po is yung cost-benefit analysis po ng agency. So dun namin ini-evaluate kung tama po ba yung rate na nakuha nila based on that cost analysis po, cost-benefit analysis.
Mr. Chair, sorry, what do you mean po by you're basing off whether the market rate is correct based on the cost-benefit analysis? Kasi hindi po ba ang assessment dapat niyan ay titignan nyo yung comparable properties in the area? Hindi po siya cost-benefit analysis, Mr. Chair.
They are also comparable po, nagko-compare po sa ibang lessors.
Can you categorically confirm, Mr. Chair, that you've done that for every single one of these satellite offices?
Unfortunately po, ang audit po kasi namin is on a sampling basis po. So it is not 100% po for the whole satellite offices.
So which, Mr. Chair, of these satellite offices did you do that assessment on?
Pwede, kasi hindi kami ma-recall po kung ano yung satellite offices particular na nakita namin. We can submit na lang po kung ano yung satellite offices na evaluate na po namin as to that reasonableness of amount.
Kasi Mr. Chair, just looking at it and doing like a quick research po, I didn't do like an on-the-ground research. Several of these po kasi seem to stand out na medyo mataas po yung rental rate para po dun sa size ng property, dun po sa lokasyon, para po dito sa ibang mga satellite offices. So if COA may please provide that information, Mr. Chair, alin po talaga dito yung nagawa nila ng assessment kung talagang at par sa market rate yung binabayaran po na rental rate ng Office of the Vice President, Mr. Chair?
So Mr. Chair, we will submit na lang po yung sinabi ni Congressman Swansing po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I think I've gone through all of the categories, all of the line items that I wanted to highlight in today's committee hearing. Siguro, Mr. Chair, mas maganda talaga sana kung nandito po yung representante mula po sa Office of the Vice President para po masagot yung ating mga katatungan patungkol po dito sa mga expenditures ng Office of the Vice President. Kasi Mr. Chair, ang gusto talaga nating gawin dito sa committee na ito, both for confidential funds and regular funds, ay gusto po nating siguraduhin na bawat piso po na ating ipinagkakatiwala sa Office of the Vice President, pinagkakatiwala po ng sambayan ng Pilipino ay nagagastos po sa tamang paraan. So siguro, Mr. Chair, what we keep on wanting to highlight in this committee hearing is there really is urgency in terms of demanding transparency, in terms of the budgeting, in terms of the utilization. Kasi halimbawa, Mr. Chair, in the absence of the COA reports, hindi natin alam na halimbawa ang inappropriate pala natin sa OVP is 194 million para sa professional services, pero ang nagamit lang pala nila is 62 million. Yung mga ganun po ba, Mr. Chair, utilization, liquidation, kailangan po talaga nating tutukan yon at tignan. At Mr. Chair, para po doon sa deficiencies na binanggit po ng COA, lalong-lalo na po doon sa 176 million na nabanggit ninyo patungkol po doon sa welfare goods, under supplies and materials expenses na kasalukuyan na pong subject ng AOM. Sana po ay matutukan niyo po yun. Masigurado po natin, medyo nakakabahala po yung sinabi niyo na ang kulang po ay distribution list. Ibig sabihin, sino yung mga naging beneficiary? Kung tama po yung pagkakaintindi ko doon po sa statement ninyo, parang kailangan siguraduhin na napunta doon sa mga intended beneficiaries, yung mga relief goods, yung mga bags, mga school supplies na binabanggit ninyo. Kaya sana po napakalaking halaga po nung ating pinag-uusapan, 176 million po para sa isang kategorya, para sa isang taon. Kaya sana po ay maimbestigahan po at matutukan po ng Commission on Audit ito pong mga deficiencies na tinutukoy nila dito po sa ating expenses. And yun lang, Mr. Chair, uulitin ko lang po. Looking at the figures po overall, dalawa po yung makikita natin. Di hamak po na mas malaki yung expenses, yung mga gastusin ng Office of the Vice President mula po taong 2023 hanggang sa kasalukuyan kumpara po sa mga naunang taon. At pangalawa, napakalaki po nung increase sa bawat taon noong mga gastusin po ng Office of the Vice President. Kaya yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the opportunity to propound questions to our resource persons.
Okay. The next interpellator is Congresswoman Luistro.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Manifestation,
Congressman
Mr.
Congon.
Chair. Mr. Chair, just a quick question lang, Mr. Chair, kay Attorney Powa. Gusto lang po namin maklarify. Attorney Powa, ang ginamit niyo pong term kanina is you were pre-terminated. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Gusto lang po namin malaman kung kayo po ba yung nag-resign or tinanggal sa OVP?
Nag-ano po kami, nagkaroon kami ng pag-uusap prior to the previous hearing. It was really a mutual decision, Your Honor.
What do you mean mutual po? Tinanggal ka po ba o nag-resign ka?
Nag-decide po kaming mutually kasi nag-express po ako na hindi ko kayang i-fulfill yung obligations ng contract as a spokesperson because to be honest with you, since I'm also a resource person here, I found it very difficult for me to go on media and be interviewed on the same matter kasi nawawala yung objectivity because I'm also part of the hearing as a resource person. So, sinabi ko po yun na I don't think I am capable of really fulfilling the contract. Naintindihan naman po ako, so we mutually decided na i-pre-terminate na po. Kasi ang contract ko po ay dapat hanggang December of this year. So, pin-re-terminate na lang po namin yung kontrata po.
Kanino po kayo nagpaalam?
Sa ating Vice President po.
Naging mutual po ba yung decision na ito? Or
I would like to think so, Your Honor, to be honest. Kasi ako naman, very forthright ako. Nagsabi ako ng difficulties that I'm encountering. Medically, I'm affected. But also, beyond that, it's really hindi ko ma-fulfill yung trabaho ko. Hindi ako makapagpa-interview. Hindi dahil sa ayaw ko. Pero I think it would be inappropriate. For example, if I'm asked about the proceedings, I would rather answer questions here rather than in the media, especially if it's a comment by a member of the committee. I think it would be inappropriate for me to comment through the media. So sa totoo lang po, nahirapan din po talaga ako and I expressed that difficulty to the principal. At I'd like to think that she really understood naman po at that's why nag-agree kami to pre-terminate. So I sent in my notice to pre-terminate the contract and wala naman pong naging problema.
bakit po kayo nahihirapan? Nahihirapan po ba kayo dahil nahihirapan kayo ipagtanggol siya o meron po bang inuutos sa inyo na...
Hindi naman po, Mr. Chair, sorry. Hindi naman po. It's really, try ko pong i-explain. No? It's for example, meron pong interview regarding the proceedings here. Ako po kasi, personal view ko, kunwari nagkomentong isang kagalang-galang na kongresista tungkol sa proceedings dito, or pagtanungin ako tungkol sa mga issues na pinag-uusapan natin dito, I don't think, out of due respect to the members of this committee, I don't think it would be proper for me to answer through the media. Tapos magkakaharap tayo dito. Tapos either ulitin ko lang ulit yung sinabi ko. I would rather answer the questions here as a resource person. And I don't know if it's something that the committee would appreciate where I'm coming from. But sa totoo lang po, nahirapan ako magpa-interview. Kaya po kung mapapansin nyo, hindi ako nagpa-interview since nagsimula po yung itong committee na to. Hindi po ako lumabas sa kahit anong interview. No? That was my difficulty personally.
One more question, Mr. Chair. May mga inutos po ba sa inyo na nahihirapan kayo sundin kaya kayo nag-resign?
Wala naman po, Your Honor. I would like to be clear about that also. Wala naman pong inutos sa akin. In fact, kahit po sa interviews naman, I was given free rein to whether accept or not an interview. But lately, talaga pong personally, I don't know, it's me. I think it would be inappropriate to answer things through the media rather than through a committee. And then maybe after the investigation, pag may magtanong, then we can all discuss what happened during the committee hearing. Pero kung alam nyo naman po, minsan ang media, minsan tatanungin tayo, ano ang nangyari? Kung kunyari, hindi pa naman napag-uusapan sa committee, ayaw ko sanang pangunahan din po ang ating kagalang-galang na committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.